Hello, everybody. Jim Graywolf here for the group, Gathering of Eagles, our community podcast. Yeah, today we kept it focused on animals, and we'll see where this goes. Animals in general. Why? And we've had some people asking in the group, why are we so focused on the animals with so much to do? To me, it's because we need balance, but we'll go into that. We'll certainly talk about the Beagle effort going on up in Wisconsin, still going on, and what that means because it's spreading, and wherever else we want to go. Valerie and Melissa are both here. Jerry's here. And our group from up in Pine Ridge, the Youth Council, are going to also serve as co-hosts today. So we'll just see where this all goes. Welcome, all of you sitting here, to those who hear this later. I'm really been looking forward to this. I was online earlier this morning with some of the people up in Wisconsin who've been working on that rescue effort. And we'll talk a little, we'll set that up for those who don't know what's going on up there and why it's going on. So for now, who would like to open the circle with a prayer? Anybody?
I can do that.
Okay.
I've been reading this book. It's called The Medicine of the Cherokee, and it has this beautiful prayer in here. I'd like to share if that's okay with everyone. It's going to be very familiar, I'm sure. It's called The Blessing Way. O Great One, I come before you in a humble manner, giving thanks for all living things in creation. I offer the clarity of our mind, body, spirit, and natural spaces in our prayer to you, O Great One. For the spirit of all creation, I offer great thanks and gifts I have to the four directions and the powers of the universe. I pray to the spirit of fire to the east. I pray to the spirit of the earth to the south. I pray to the spirit of the west, the water. I pray to the spirit of the wind, to the north. I pray and give thanks to you, O Creator, the Great One. I pray and give thanks to Mother Earth, Father Sky, Grandfather Sun, Grandmother Moon, and all our relations in the greater circle of life. I thank you for the power, energy, wisdom, and sacred gifts, because without you and the guidance of all my relations, I would not be able to live and love and grow and feel and learn. I ask that I be shown another way if ever I have accidentally harmed or hurt another thing. I ask that I be taught a different and a better way. I pray offering gifts I have, and may you guide us, heal us, purify us, protect us. I pray for all of our relations that we may exist together in harmony and balance. Wado.
Beautiful, thanks. Chantel, I saw your hand had gone up too, so maybe you'll take us with the closing prayer later, if you hang in there. That's the only caveat. Then you have to listen to the whole show. Or you can drop back on. That's another trick. All right, Melissa's here twice. We have Melissa squared. Okay, back down to one. Animals. Anybody else want to open this discussion? Any of my co-hosts?
I would just say,
Hmm?
if you can, Jim, just give a summary. I know it's hard because this has been going on a while, but a summary of what has happened to this point, because obviously this has been going on a while here.
What are we talking about? The Beagles?
Yeah, of the
Oh,
beagles.
okay.
Sorry,
No,
I
that's
should.
okay. Because, yeah, I'm kind of thinking we're going to talk about the whole scenario with animals and why does it really matter, and what's going on with the animals in general. Because it's not just the beagles are showing as ooh, a beacon of light, but they're shining that light on many, many things, and a lot of things have been coming in the last couple of days, including the wild horses, which now several states have halted the shooting of the wild horses from helicopters. So now there's at least 3 places where the wild horses, where a lot of them were going to be killed. They will not be killed at the moment. I'm sure it'll be a court battle again. But it's more than the animals too, because the way I was taught, and that I've been sharing in other groups with people as we talk, this is about everything having to be in balance right now. Everything healing together. Not just humans, once again, trying to be the ones doing the healing and the ones evolving. It won't work. It won't work any better than it's worked so far, is what I hear, and I certainly buy into that. I've always felt that way, but it's never been this clear. So the Beagle rescue, and I did talk to some of the principals yesterday and today, so I have a little better understanding of what's going on. That's a Beagle factory, if you will. All of those dogs, or almost all of them, used for research, and a lot of them medical research, and not used in a kind and gentle way. There's thousands and thousands of beagles each year being bred just for that. You know, there's always been a lot of animals bred for research, medical research, and other research as well. Even it used to be a lot more in the cosmetics industry even. They would use animals to test products, even if it damaged or killed them. A lot of that has stopped because it's been, the courts have stopped it. Not all of it, but a lot of it. But the medical research, it's like, oh, it's okay. Because humans have the right, apparently, to kill, maim, distress other animals. Which again is so out of balance, and it's what we humans have been doing to each other as well. So, of all the animals used for medical research, and this one surprised me, many are dogs. One, because they're so kind-hearted and easy to take care of, and 2, there's something about their systems. They take a lot more than many. And of the dogs, roughly 90% of them are beagles. And there's something to do with their physical DNA that makes them a desired animal. So these facilities are around the country that breed these dogs. The dogs now up in Wisconsin, there's 2,000 in that facility. The facility has finally agreed to cease operations in July. But in the meantime, they're going to try to sell all these dogs that are left to various research facilities. And that's what, obviously, they're trying to stop. So a team went in, it was about 4 days ago now, I think, 3 or 4 days ago. It might have been Saturday. I'm sorry, I've been working on 4 things today, so I don't have all my facts. But it was a few days ago. And the person who actually was the figurehead is Ricky Gervais, the actor. And they were in the process of breaking in peacefully. They didn't hide the fact they were coming. They said they were coming to rescue the dogs peacefully and help take them somewhere where they can all get homes. And they even said they would raise funds to offset any losses that that company, that facility said it would lose. The police showed up, and it was we have several Standing Rock veterans who were up there. At least 4 I know of, and there's probably more. It was a very similar scenario. The police showed up. when they were at the fences and they were cutting open the gates, cutting locks off and going in. And the police opened fire with rubber bullets, with tear gas. What's the other thing they used? The other gas. Oh, anyway, they really started attacking them. There's a good number of ex-military there as well.
Tear gas.
Yeah, it was tear gas, but there's another substance as well. It's okay.
Pepper spray?
Yes, thank you. The pepper spray, yeah. Which I remember from when I was in my 20s, because they used that during the Vietnam protests. It is not a pleasant thing. It burns like hell. So they started attacking with all of that. The chief of police was particularly anti-protesters. And this facility has, I believe, 30-some legal offenses documented against it. And yet the court systems have not engaged with that yet. So some people were taken off. There's some good interviews online if you are interested. There's one woman who's an ex-Marine. To hear her speak was really powerful. Really powerful. So they rescued some of the beagles. I believe only about 50, if I remember the numbers. But they did rescue those. And then the police more and more of them were coming, and they shut them down. They arrested some of them who were in jail until the middle of the night, actually, or late last evening. I believe they've all been released at this point, but there's charges against several of them. So it's kind of in a quote-unquote quiet spell, and yet now there's thousands of people at the governor, in front of the governor's mansion and his offices, and also at the police facilities. And it seems like more are coming from around the country every day. Some people are supposed to be flying in from overseas beginning later today. So this thing, once again, the similarity to Standing Rock, I find fascinating. And those who are there are saying the same thing. This is also something that cuts through the differences. The people who are there are not worrying about, are you a conservative, are you a liberal, are you a Democrat, are you a Republican, are you this, that, or the other thing. They're just standing together, saying that this kind of abuse needs to end. It is spreading now to other facilities. There's an effort here, I just found out this morning, in Arizona. One of these facilities is down on the south side of Phoenix. And of course, they don't advertise these places. So I'll find out more, but some people down there with the various animal abuse groups are seeing what might be done there. And it's spreading there's another large one in Maryland, which already some people are showing up there. It's small yet. People are trying to understand what to do. The talk is out there once again, thank goodness. This has to be peaceful. As we did in Standing Rock, those who could not commit to that are asked to leave. That's just, we can't go back to what has been happening for so long. As much as some people would like to get those dogs out of there today, and I'm one of them, I just think it has to be done in the right way now. So I had a vision around this the other night, and I don't use that word lightly, and I can come back to that and share it if you want later, but that's kind of where it stands at the moment. There's going to be some other arrests, I'm told, because they documented these protesters with video. And I think the last I heard, they were trying to start a case against the primary leaders of this thing. So that's where it's at. Talking stick in the middle. I can fill in if any other questions appear. Yeah, Melissa, take it.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Nice to see you. You know, you know me, so I come to you. I have my Steiner lens on because I just really appreciate a lot of what he shared and understanding the evolution of consciousness and the soul. We talked about animals having this group soul as opposed to humans having the I, an individual part of us. And I think of social work when I would teach about child welfare and child development and how we first learned how to treat people with how we were regulated and how we treated animals. So how we treat animals is really the diagnostic of how regulated humanity really is.
Hmm.
And so we ask, why animals? Well, we need to get back to basics. We need to, protecting animals taught us how to protect our children and how to protect our youth and look at what's going on in our world and right here in the United States and how we're incarcerating children. Like, it's ludicrous. And so if people want to know why we're talking about animals, it's like this, to learn how to live in harmony again. So, I pulled some stuff up. Um, Animals embody what humans are meant to master consciously. So, I mean, everything that we can learn. I can remember when I was studying like subtle energy, and my teacher um, was sharing. It's like, you want to know anything, look at how animals stretch. We don't even do that, and we wonder what's wrong with us and why we have to take pills. If people have to, they're so dysregulated. But if we just did some basic, rise with the sun, get that light in our eyes like the animals do, and we're regulated, our circadian rhythm is regulated, our whole nervous system will be regulated, and then we're just trying to master how we react, right, to everything. And animals holds, those real like archetypal emotional forces, and they can show us on the outside what is going on the inside of us, and can teach us how to use our own intuition. So I think there's so much there, but I'll just I think I'll start there, because but when you think about it, from the individual human being, that physical body, the soul body, being self-aware as a person, as opposed to the animal, which is there's no individual. It's working together in community and working together in groups, and I think that that's why many of us are here tonight and why we continue to gather in these circles, and that we hope that you bring this to your circles and to your circles. We were talking about this all day today, and how do we share these core teachings when we have a world in such fragmentation, and so in such disarray. So I all hail Snoopy. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, you look at the archetypes, right? And
Yes.
I was writing last week because I'm coming up. I have an intern, and we're creating these groups, and I'm like, what? Good grief! I want one. Good grief! And I want to use it like Charlie Brown. Good grief, Charlie Brown. And then now you talked about the Beagles, and I'm like, I've been living with this, and this is something, right? How do we process grief? Well, we do that when we lose an animal. How do you teach children about grief? It's usually they first lose a pet, and there's so many ways that we work with animals to teach us life lessons on how to be human, learning from how animals are. So it's a human development. It's I can remember undergrad having to train the rat to drink the water with the light on, with the light off, real basic operant conditioning. So that's what I have for now. Talking stick in the middle.
That's good. There's a ton of good stuff in there, but a really important one I'm going to highlight, and then I see Valerie's got her hand up, is that exporting things. Absolutely. take these things and put them out there. And that's nothing to do with us. It's about getting the message out. You're welcome to use the recordings of the show. You would just share the thoughts, whatever it is. And cooperate and collaborate where we can. As we've done with the last couple of weeks with Mel's show. Back and forth on plant medicine. Beautiful way to do it. And that can happen in any of these things. On the other material you had in there, Melissa, yes. We have indicator species. We've talked about it before in nature. The ones we look at to see how the species is doing. Wolves are a great example. The animals in general, I think, are an indicator for, and like you were saying, the health of everybody, including we humans. If we can't treat all beings on this planet equally well, then we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to evolve. We'll stay stuck. You can't treat any one species as less than. We have different jobs for sure, but none of them are less than. So, thanks. Those were great words. And before I flip up to you there a minute, Valerie, the grandmothers are here, by the way. There's 5 of them. Welcome, Grandmother Val and the rest of y'all. Please chip in as you wish. From the Youth Council, okay. What is it that has led us to think we can be more than the animals? Up here we heard you, when we were talking about the animals before, and they're starting an effort on the res to look at the situation with the dogs and how can they better work with the dogs on the res. Wow, that's cool. That's great. You guys keep it up. You're doing awesome work. And, okay. They're also, I'll throw this one in too, and then I'll flip it out again. But since they're co-hosts this week, they're glad to see Jerry's here this week too. They started, and they just want to give thanks to Jerry and I. You don't have to, but we'll take it. They started their group because of what we did and how we were sharing when we started the circle. So it's partly why we started it. I know for me it was a big reason why. Not specifically a youth council, but so others would take this and run. So thank you very much, and you're doing the same for us now. And so it's circle to circle. Okay. Valerie, you got it, sister.
Just wanted to say I'm so thankful to be here. I missed last week, and it seemed like eternity. I missed you guys so much, and just wanted to say I'm thankful for you and all of you, the grandmothers, the youth council, all the individuals that are here. So thankful, and I missed you. So I'm happy to be here. I have a question actually for you, Jim. I might have dreamed it, but I think I read something about the connection between animals and a prophecy of some sort. Was that you that talked about that, or did I read it somewhere else?
You know, I don't remember talking about it lately, but there's a lot of connections between the animals and the prophecies, and certainly the animals and the stories. Jerry's a great example of that. And me too. I mean, most of my stories are around the animals. Well, a lot of them are anyway. So no, I don't know exactly. Anyone else know? That's the best I can say.
All right, so I think and I'm sorry, I'm fuzzy on this, but I recall when there were some open season horrible stuff going on here in Wisconsin, where they were hunting the wolves. I heard, and I believe it to be Ojibwe, but I could be wrong. The Ojibwe had a prophecy that basically I'm paraphrasing, so I apologize if I'm getting this wrong, but basically what would happen to the wolves would also happen to mankind, because our they're our brothers and our destinies are kind of tied together. So maybe you can help me out on that. I might be missing some details. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Let's go over to yeah. You got it, Jer.
I'm aware of what you're speaking of, Valerie. It's an old Ojibwe story. One of the few non-Hopi stories I've been given permission to carry and to share. I won't go over the whole story here, but I'll paraphrase it. And when Abuju, the first man in the Hopi stories, when Creator made him, was given the first responsibility he was given was to go over and walk among the earth, all over the earth, and to observe his brothers and sisters, his elder brothers and sisters, the animal kingdom, and to give them a name according to their responsibilities and who they were. And basically, as he did that, he saw the animals, and he saw that they each had someone, and he was alone. There was no other like him. And so he asked Creator about this and said that he was very lonely, and he would wish for a companion to be with him as he fulfilled this responsibility he was given. And then he fell into a sleep. When he woke up, he heard this beautiful song, this beautiful, he couldn't figure out what it was. He'd never heard anything like it in all of his time as he walked over the earth. He followed this, and he got to a clearing in the forest where the moonlight was shining down. This moonbeam was shining down. It was illuminating this creature, and the moonlight just seemed to make this animal shine. And this animal had his head thrown back, and he was singing. It was him that was making this sound. And when he got closer, he heard Creator say, "You have asked for a companion as you do this and fulfill this responsibility. I give you your brother to walk with you and be with you during this responsibility, during this time. Together, you will walk over and you will name the earth. You will name the children of the earth. This is Mahinga. This is Wolf. And that Wolf they would be like brothers." And so they fulfilled their responsibility at the time. And like I said, I'm paraphrasing the story, but at the end of this responsibility, um, Creator told them that it was now time for them to separate, that they must each go, and they would have families of their own that they would care for. But they must separate and go about fulfill their own original instructions. But they would always be connected. And he told them that the fate of one would be the fate of the other. That what would befall one would befall the other. They would always be as brothers, and they would always work together and help each other and teach each other in many different ways. And then they separated. Well, today we look now, you know, what happened to the human beings? First, the wolves were vilified and hunted almost to extinction. And then, after that, they were put in pens and cages and, tried to be domesticated. What happened to man? After the wolves were decimated, sometime around the same time that was being done, the native people on this land were hunted and killed, decimated, and then put in prisons like the animals were, like the wolves were, reservations. What would befall one would befall the other. That is what we were promised, that is what we were told, that we would always be as one, we would be as brothers. And so this relates to what you're speaking of, that old Ojibwe story. And so that's about the connection with wolf. But you know, the question, why are we focusing on the animals? My first response, my thought, to be honest, my first response, are you kidding me? You're talking to people, and primarily this started as this wasn't a native group, but two natives started it, and to deny the relationship between our elder brothers and sisters, the animal nations, and us, to not realize and recognize that relationship, especially with Native American people. Why would we talk about the animals? Why wouldn't we? But then there's the other point to look at. Today's dominant culture way of thinking would have us separate ourselves and be apart from any other race on this earth. We are to have dominion over them, they say. That BS. The truth of the matter is, we are mammals. We are a part of the natural world. We are animals also. We're the only animal that has forgotten to live our original instructions and to live together in harmony, to work together for the benefit and the beauty, the harmony and balance of all. There's going to be doing a lot of paraphrasing of stories today, apparently. Another story I tell speaks about when the first elders were given their responsibility. They were taken to the spirit world. And then they were told by Creator that not to worry about anything that they were told, anything they were given. If they forgot anything, all they had to do was look in nature, for all truth dwelt in nature. And there was a living example for each teaching, each lesson, embodied in nature. In the plants, the trees, in the animals, embodied in how they lived, their very being embodied one of those teachings, one of those lessons that Creator gave them. That all truth dwelt in nature. And you heard me call them our elder brothers and sisters, because they were here long before humans were here on the earth. And they, to this day, continue to follow and live their original instructions. Hopefully, to remind us eventually to get back to that. So why the animals? There's no coincidence, no trivial reason why spirit animals are so important to native and to indigenous people. They help us. They help their younger brothers and sisters. There was a time when, during the time of the ice ages, when man was suffering. We didn't eat meat then. We hadn't eaten meat yet, and we were starving and suffering because the plant life was decimated. Everything was covered in snow and ice, and we were starving. The animals held a council. Something must be done to help their younger brothers and sisters survive. And there were those animals that chose to give of their life, to offer themselves to us so that we could live. And so they did so. There's always been a relationship. Always. And because of that relationship, we've looked at those animals that embodied those teachings and those things. And we've looked at them for their guidance, for their wisdom. And in a time when we seem to be the most out of balance, why wouldn't we turn to our elder brothers and sisters to help us return to that balance? To me, it's pretty self-apparent. Anyways, thank you. Thank you for listening. And thank you, Youth Council, by the way, for the efforts you're doing for the dogs on the res. And I know that'll only just be the beginning of it. For all that you do, I say thank you. Stick in the middle.
Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, perfect stories. Something came while you were telling that story. I know it'll come back again. But they were, the question, well, we got two things going here. All right, let me sidetrack to the grandmothers for a moment. They just want us to know, Grandmother Val, who was on with us at the beginning, she was the first one who came on and decided she wanted to work with grandmothers. She was moving. So they now have, and her grandkids are in Florida. So she's been talking to her grandkids about what we all been talking about, and some of the other grandmothers talking to their grandkids. So now the grandchildren of these grandmothers are connecting up online to begin to talk. Beautiful. Perfect. Thanks for sharing that, Val. Really appreciate it. That is awesome. If they ever want any of us on, I'm sure some of us would be more than willing. As always, thank you. Shifting back to Pine Ridge. They always love the stories, yeah. Apparently big things for them each week when Jerry's here, the stories and the cards that Melissa pulls. I get it. They're very hands-on, very spirit. Jim, we've heard you talk about this before, and maybe the others, but why the wolves and the dogs? Where do the dogs come from? Why dogs? Why not all wolves? Okay, I get it. Boy, there's a lot of different stories about this. Originally, the wolves were, well, a lot of the stories tell us. Jerry, you probably have some of them too, but I'll be curious to hear. The wolves were the partners of the humans. The wolves and the humans lived together. They lived when we were all tribal, when we had our small tribal units, and they worked together. They hunted together. They took care of each, protected each other, depending on what the threat was, and that was the way it was for many generations. Wolves and humans, wolves and humans. And as Jerry was pointing out, if one advanced, both advanced, and everything around them advanced. Much like we saw in Yellowstone when the wolves were brought back in. As things changed and people began moving into larger communities, it became more of a problem for several reasons. One, having the wolves where there was a lot of people was difficult, and some people didn't know how to deal with it. And two, and more important from my perspective, the wolves were not comfortable. Wolves need freedom and open space and land and not a lot of things around them. So the teaching goes that the humans who were in sync to this and the wolves sat together to see, what do we do about this? How can we still live together as partners, as connected spirits, to continue to work together and grow together? And many, many talked, but none seemed to have the answers. And then Buffalo showed up. And Buffalo was one of the wisdom keepers of the plains, we call them now. Buffalo was always shown to have a lot of wisdom, a lot of answers. Okay, guys. Sorry, my dogs are going nuts here, just for no reason. And they talked more, and they talked longer. And it was decided, maybe some of the wolves have to change. Maybe if there were some smaller wolves and less connected to having to be free in the environment all the time, maybe that would work. Maybe that would shift the energy. Maybe they could live in these towns. And so Creator was asked to help. Can you help us with this, Creator? And they did a lot of ceremony and a lot of sharing and a lot of talking, because they did not want to lose the human-wolf connection. It's critical. But they wanted to have it in another way as well. And Creator said, we will come now with the, oh boy, I'm trying to remember what it was. the tribe of the smaller wolves, which meant the dogs. And that's where the dogs started to appear. And the dogs teamed up with the people. And so for a period of time, the wolves, the humans, and the dogs all worked together. But as things evolved and the big communities evolved, the dogs stayed with the people. The wolves went back with nature to work with the mother. But still, they share all those connections. And so today we have that connection, which at some point may all meld back together again, or it may not. But energetically and spiritually, they're all still connected. So that's what I remember. I do remember a lot more of the story, but I think that's the gist of it. And wolves and dogs are of the same line, obviously. And I've worked with both extensively. And I see the similarities and I see the differences. You are not going to tell a wolf he cannot do something. It doesn't. It just does not go. I had wolves I worked with for years in a facility, and some in the wild, and some in a reintroduction program I ran. You can make suggestions to them, but they never took orders. Wolves are wolves, and it's their nature, and that's part of what they give us too. So, okay, great. Thank you. That answers our questions. Okay. Ooh, who next? Stick in the middle.
We have a question here from Hal, or it's a good one.
Okay, I got it. Would you consider Bigfoot an animal? A few nights ago, he appeared in my dream once again. You know, that's an interesting one. I chuckle because depends who you ask. I have a really good friend who is, he's Dine and Lakota. And he works with Bigfoot medicine all the time and totally believes in the reality of their existence. I have other friends that say no, they're a spirit presence that works with us. So I don't know what others think. I have no personal thought in any which way. Okay. Yeah, let's
I'll jump in.
go ahead. Here comes a
I,
Bigfoot.
I think so. I do. I do believe. I do. I do. I believe that we are expanding, and in spirit there is no time and space, and I do believe we walk alongside with the giants, absolutely. And depending on what consciousness you tap into, you may bump into a wolf, a unicorn, a fairy, a gnome, a Sasquatch, and all things are possible. Absolutely, a cyborg. Hey, you never know these days. But I'll share. I was shuffling because I know you had asked for a card, and my Jamie Sam's book is downstairs in my downstairs office. But I'll tell you. I pulled. I have another animal deck, Stephen Farmer. Messages from spirit, from your animal spirit guides, and as I was tossing them, the Roadrunner again. So we brought in the Roadrunner last week, and we were talking about that this is kind of so funny, the Wile E. Coyote, and the Roadrunner, and just that's kind of where we're at, where we're running, we're falling off the cliff, and we're just waiting for the rest of us to catch up before we go. So as I was shuffling, it flew out, and I had to laugh because that's Roadrunner energy, right? So keep your sense of humor. Hold on, switching glasses. Hashtag this is 50. Keep your sense of humor and don't take things too seriously. If I heard it once today, I heard it 10 times. And listen, I grew up in those rooms, coming from a family of addiction. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, keep it simple. Keep it simple. I heard it on the medicine circle this morning, then other meetings that we were at about how we're trying to develop ways that we can share teachings in appropriate manner, you know, to get us back to basics. And yeah, that's it. And you know, it's not that serious. It's not. And I think that that's what's important. You know, when you think about the dog, right? And listen, most of us are here are storytellers, so we tend to run on. I know I do. I'm like, all right, story time, and then I go on about something. But I was talking to somebody the other day about taking a cue from a dog. It's like people think like when the dog looks at you and is like that they're actually trying to understand you, or maybe they're just like, what are you talking about? So we may interpret like you're trying to understand. Meanwhile, if you take it from a dog, they're kind of like, you're not making any sense. So I thought that was funny. All right, Roadrunner. This is for you, Youth Council. It's so tempting to view life in all of its many manifestations, permutations, and variations as something to be taken quite seriously. Yet this is exactly the opposite of what you need to do right now. No matter what the situation, look for the humor in it. It may take time to find something, but if you look for it with this attitude in mind, you begin to see the absurdities and ironies inherent in whatever shows up in life, even in the seemingly darkest circumstances. I just hear Grandma Barbara coming in like, don't worry about it, because when you get to my age, you won't remember what you were worrying about, so it's not that serious. She just chimed in for me right now. So maintaining a healthy sense of humor about most experiences causes you to be lighter in spirit, to smile unabashedly, and to appreciate life that much more. Turn the scowl upside down by doing what makes you openly laugh. Of course, there are certain times that require more serious demeanor. Tragedies or traumatic experiences don't call for cheerfulness and humor. When these events occur, appropriate social restrictions apply that demand the expression of emotions congruent with circumstances. However, these instances are temporary and, like all things, will soon pass. Other than these kinds of situations, life's ironies and absurdities abound. Rather than feeling personally victimized by these vagaries, take a deep breath. See the humor in this situation and have a good laugh. That's Roadrunner medicine. I like it. It's not that serious. And I think about us as a human, I call this human experiment, right? We're all different programs and projects on this path. And it's like, good gravy. Gosh, we could be so silly. What are we doing, you know? Knock it off. I say to us, you know, the collective, knock it off already, you know? And I think of some of the stories that I heard this week. Your story on Monday, Jerry, you know, about the life of somebody who was wrongly accused, right? And to think of it in a way like, oh, you feel so bad for that person. But then when you hear of that person who was imprisoned and how many lives they touched and how they were taken care of and how they were sheltered from all the wildness of having to work 3 jobs, to pay your rent, to put food on the table, to, worry and all of that, right? And it's like, I don't know, sometimes I look at people who are imprisoned just like a monk that lives in a cave, or, what's the difference? If you can make something of your life and make meaning, right? Jerry, you teach soul, the last question, how do we want to be remembered? And that's what's important. Thank you. Like that, Roadrunner.
Thanks, Melissa. Me too. I always love Roadrunner. I remember Leonard Peltier was, he's been on several things I was on in the past, and he said the same. Yeah, I would not have chosen to spend a large part of my life in prison, but I was where I was needed. So yeah, that's true. That's a big one to adopt. Jerry.
Meep meep. One of the things I was always taught about the Roadrunner is that birds. We talk about birds when we think of birds, and always think about them flying, right? Well, the Roadrunner doesn't fly. So one of the things it teaches us is to be creative, to think in unconventional ways, to live, to thrive, to flourish, unconventional ways to fit in with all of nature, with the greater part of harmony and balance, to be creative, to don't look at things as, it has to be this way, it has to be that way, to take and step outside of that box, that prison, so to speak, and be creative with how we do things, how we contribute, how we live, how we interact, and with what we give to life. So, a little bit about Roadrunner there. Back to the question about Sabe in Anishinaabe and Ojibwe. Sabe is what they refer to as what people call Bigfoot. Sasquatch is another name that was derived from a native tongue. We didn't we didn't make things up. We don't have stories about animals that don't exist. So the very fact that we have a name, every tribe seems to have a name for what people call today as Bigfoot, tells me that they're real. But I've also had firsthand experience. I've seen Bigfoot. I've seen that brother. And when I went to Oregon, the first day I was out there on the land, I went out there and my goal was intentionally to spend that first day in introducing myself to the land itself, to Mother Earth there, that part of Mother Earth, and her children. I didn't realize they were going to answer back. As I was walking through the woods for the first time, just checking out the place and getting to know it, and putting tobacco down different places, I felt someone touch my mind. And then I understood who it was. It was that brother, the woods walker, the one that walks through the wilderness and watches over things. What people know as Bigfoot today. Talking to me in a way that I could understand. My mind might have been my mind that interpreted it as language, obviously a language I could understand, but letting me know that my brother Barry, that was there first, had spoken to all of nature when he got there. I was there, I arrived maybe about a week or two later. Let me know that one and his family were aware of what we wanted to accomplish on that land, and that we wished to live in harmony, and we wished to live in a good way on that land. And because of that, he told me where his family lived, and but they would extend our territory once again. He said once again they would extend it to include watching over the land that we were on, because he agreed and was very pleased with what we wanted to do on that land. And I asked him, I said, "Where are you?" And I got the feeling. Wasn't None of it was in words, but I got the feeling that he was about 5 to 8 miles away from me, up higher in the mountains, and that there was a cave system up there, and that's where his family and other families of his kind lived. And I saw some tracks as I was there. Told no one about him, but I saw his tracks. People talk about there's a smell you smell. I can attest to that when they're nearby. And I often felt him. reach out and touch my mind and initiate that contact that way. So I've seen them with my physical eyes other places. This time, I had that contact. Do they exist? Yes. Are they animals? Like I said, humans are a part of the animal kingdom. Why would we think that Bigfoot is any different than that? But yeah, they are very intelligent, like all of our elder brothers and sisters are. They've been here a lot longer, and their responsibility is to watch over and keep sacred as much as they can nature in the wild areas, and to keep it in balance, to help keep it in balance. In that way, they share the responsibilities of, in Hopi, the Hinkachinas, the little ones, the little people, the fairies. So do I believe in them? Do I believe in the fairies? Do I believe in Bigfoot? Like I said, I've had firsthand experience. So yes, but our people didn't make things up. Our people have names for these beings. And are they animals? Yes, but so are we. They're very intelligent. They're very much aware. They're given a responsibility of guardianship and the steward of the land, of nature, and to try to keep it in harmony. So, I hope that answers some of your questions. With that, talking feather in the middle.
Yep, and talking feather. Yeah, it does. It's I actually find it easier to believe in some of the other animals than I do some of the humans. But that's another problem, another story. Oh, I'm being asked, what was this vision about I spoke of? I can do that now. I can wait a little bit and do it. It ties into the Beagles. It's not a... Well, why don't I put it up? All right, Valerie, go ahead. Do you want to go first?
I want to hear. I'm like the youth council. I'm curious about your vision.
Okay. So when I saw what was happening with the dogs, actually a friend said, "Do you know what's going on here?" and sent me a little bit. This was before it was, now it seems to be all over social media. And I didn't know at that point, but as I felt into it, I really felt a strong connection because I am so strongly connected to the animals. And I've always seen, in order for us to do the next steps, to move ahead, to advance, it has to be all the species. And like Jerry's saying, absolutely, we're just one other animal here. We're just one other species. In our ego way in the past, we decided that it's humans up here and all the other species down here, and it's just not accurate. We have our gifts like everyone else does, but so do they. We can't exist without some of them, or it won't, not well. Next time you eat a fruit, thank a bee. So I started digging into it a little bit, and as I said, I immediately recognized the similarities to Standing Rock and the way people were starting to show up. And I thought, boy, I wonder if I could do anything around this. Because I work here a little bit too, and just a little bit. I'm helping get dogs rehomed and help a friend who brings in rescue dogs all the time from New Mexico. And my friend Shiye is here doing his art for a week or so. And we got to talking about it, so he's actually going to paint a spiritual beagle on the back of one of my drums. So it'll be eagle on one side and spirit beagle on the other side, which I love. It'll be great. So I started talking to some people. And they're like, boy, Jim, I don't know. What can you do? And I said, well, it's a good question. What would be helpful? Well, is there any way you could come up here with some folks and have a presence? And I said, wow, I'd love to. I don't have the means. All these reasons I can't do it started entering because I went into my head. And I said, I don't know. Let's see how this evolves. Let me see what happens in the next few days, and I'll keep asking people and see what occurs. So now when I went to bed that night, I just lay there for a long time. with this issue, but with several others that were coming to me, people have asked me about. And when I went to sleep, it was like I moved into a different realm. It hasn't happened in a while. And I don't use the word vision often. The only true, complete vision I had was my first vision quest some 35 years ago or more. But occasionally I'll have something that's more vision than dream. I have a good friend who's tribal, who I think every other dream for him is a vision. That's not me. It has to feel like it's coming from a whole different place. So what I saw was a caravan coming together, forming. From here to up where they are in Wisconsin, pretty much bisects the country and goes from north to south. And it's about 1,600 miles, plus or minus. And I thought, wow, okay. In this vision, I'm like functioning as if I'm awake and aware and talking to others. So if we could put together a caravan and head up there and work with the powers that be to get these dogs released, I don't know how many of them we could take, but take as many as we can and take them into our vehicles and start slowly heading back. And along the way, we would say, okay, tomorrow we're going to be in X town or community, and we'll find a place when we get there. Please come and welcome one of these beagles into your family. And we do that, coming all the way back. And then when we got back here in Arizona, the rest of them would be whatever was left would be available for adoption. And just to make a statement of support of the animals and the people working with them, and the fact that we have to heal so many of these things. Because, I don't know, somebody was speaking earlier, it might have been Jerry, I don't know. But there's a huge connection. There's a huge similarity between what's going on here with these animals and between what's going on between humans elsewhere. Whether it's Iran or the Gaza or Ukraine or all the other places. So we just thought it would make a nice statement, and then we could spread out, and I saw us starting to work with all these different groups, once again, as we did at Standing Rock, and connect them up. And then I saw that groups overseas would start doing this as well. I woke up in the morning, and I was in that space of, wait, which was the dream? Am I awake now, or is this part 2 of the dream? And I shook it off, and I heard clearly, and there was no one here except Shiye, who was outside. I heard clearly, yes, that's what you're to do. You need to get there. Don't worry about how. Just put out the intention. And if you can't get there, go there in spirit and still set up the effort. So that's what I'm letting sit there now, and I'll see what evolves out of that. I've had a number of people say, yes, okay, I've got 3 people already who have vans who want to be part of this caravan. So I would need a different vehicle. Mine wouldn't work. And I guess we need some funding to get there. I don't know what that would take. I don't think too much. So we're just going to see what happens. And when I've had these before, strange things have happened. It was kind of that way with Standing Rock. I had no intention to be the one who started the virtual part of that and presenting what was going on. No intention at all. I tried to push it away, but my elders kind of forced me into it, which I'm glad they did. But and this feels the same way. I'm not sure what it all means. I just know there's this connection, and those who would not be part of it physically, I hope will be part of it energetically. They can help us do it. They can help us whatever we need to do it. They can send prayers. Jerry and I have had a lot of talks about the parts, prayers and actions and ceremonies and how all these things weave together. Prayers are going to be critical to this, because this is a huge change. If we can get the change there, just like the people did in Minneapolis, that was a human-based thing. That made a huge change. This will also make a huge change. and then just see what goes from there. I had a follow-up dream on this, which was just a dream the next night. It was just actually more reinforcement. And then the next morning, another friend called and said, "Hey, I've got a van, and I can't drive very well anymore, but you can take the van, or I can come as a passenger if I can help." So it's starting to evolve. It's nothing I'm going to try real hard to make happen. I'm going to welcome in what we need to let it happen and see what evolves. Because, again, like it always, for any of us, it's not about us specifically. Some of us get to carry things, which is nice. But then, okay, here it is, circle. What do we do with it? So that was the vision. And then I saw it spreading over. Oh, that's the other part. It was the next day, I guess, that some of the people up there at this one told me that people were reaching out from overseas and that they wanted to start something similar there, and some of them wanted to come here to be part of this. So it is spreading, and it'll circle the globe. Standing Rock made a huge impact that way. That was the success of Standing Rock, not the one effort standing up there at Standing Rock, which I don't belittle at all. I was up there. But that was just the top of the pin. The whole thing was how it spread and the energy it provided. And I think this is the same. Okay, that took longer than I thought. Sorry about that. I think Robbie was next. Bring it in, mate.
Why did it become acceptable? But some dogs are protected like pets, and other ones are acceptable to be cruel to them. The different values of the same animal.
Wow. Yeah. That is a great question. I don't have a good answer. I've never had a pet. I only have animals who agree to live with me as part of my family. And I think those of us who feel that way, this would never happen. But then you have those who think they can use anything and everything on the planet for their own good, because after all, humans are the only ones that matter. And when you do that, these sorts of things happen. For the Wisconsin one, and I never had any feelings about some of these people one way or the other, but one of the principals actually in that research lab is Dr. Fauci from the COVID days, which I was sorry to see, because although I didn't agree with his work back then, I thought he did it for a good and pure reason. But I don't know, anybody who could be part of these animal farms, and it doesn't have to just be for research either, by the way. These animal mills are just as bad. But why, Robbie? God, I wish I had the answer. I think it's something else we have to, okay, maybe this. That's something else we have to evolve out of and away from. And maybe that's how they're helping us now. Anybody else on that one? Well, Valerie, you got your hand up, so go for it.
How can we explain something that is so illogical? I don't even know. Robbie, it's a very good question, but I'm at a loss too. I don't know. And it just, how we can continue to justify this, I don't understand that either. Why in this day and time we even 2,000, my gosh, 2,000 beagles? This is, it's so wrong on so many levels. And it's time for us to grow up as human beings and do a better job. It's just not right. So that isn't what I wanted to talk about. Um, I wanted to hear a little bit more about spirit animals and how do you get one? And I I have one, which is kind of an interesting experience that I've had recently. Um, so I don't know if it's okay to change the topic, but I just wanted to add I agree with Chantal and Jerry and everyone that yeah, Sub A's real. Sub A, Yeti, Sasquatch, whatever. I mean that all the tribes have a name, so I believe it to be true. I may have made contact with Sub A last summer, and it was a shadow of a figure and telepathically communicating with me. So Jerry, I think, has confirmed that yes, indeed, I was hearing Sub A. So that has helped me because I had my doubts. Um, so yeah, if you don't mind shifting the topic a little bit, let's talk a little bit about spirit animals.
I don't know. I would vote for leaving it where it is for now.
Okay.
And then maybe open the next show with spirit animals. What's everybody think? Have we depleted this topic, or is there more to bring into it?
Well, I'd like to hear what Marina has to say first.
Yeah. I just saw that
So
too.
why don't we
Marina.
start there, and then what we can touch upon it and pull another animal card and go see where we're led.
Only if it's Wile E. Coyote because he's being abused. Marina, bring it in.
Hi, my name's Marina. This is the first time here. I was on Facebook. I don't hardly ever go on Facebook. Uh, and I just saw Jim's podcast and it was like, oh, Spirit told me, go do that. I needed that. So, and everything everybody said, I just want to say thank you. Also, I have my Spirit partner, Alexander, with me. You've seen his tail and try not to have him have his tushy right in the in the camera too much. But I don't know how much time we have, and I don't want to take a lot of time. I am a total animal advocate, telepathic communicator with animals. I have experienced Sasquatch firsthand, running alongside my car many years ago. Uh, Animals talk to me. I understand what they say. I'm just saying this because I'm with the group, and I'm so thankful that Spirit guided me to be here. Thank you, Jim, for hosting this. Um, to me, any animal cruelty is unconscionable. Unconscionable. I pray, and when, like I said, animals talk to me telepathically, not in human words. They're just like us, but they're in different bodies. And they're when I was a kid, I remember saying to somebody, I think animals are much more advanced than we humans. Um, Quail come to me, owls come to me, roadrunners come to me. They stand, dolphins. So, and Alexander's saying hi. I just wanted to be part of the energy and say thank you, and I support all of the efforts of this group, and I will say prayers for the release of the Beagles and all of our brothers and sisters on all levels. And yes, just to Jerry, just to confirm, if I could share, many years ago when I was married, my husband, he was a doctor and he used to go to the Catskills when he was a kid, and he wanted to go back up there as an adult. He was a busboy, I think, when he was a kid. So we drove up there and it was all dilapidated. Everything was falling down. And as we were leaving, Catskills, upstate New York, as we were leaving on this, that then it had turned into like a gravel road. It was in the forest. I don't know what kind of trees, but they were not real big trees or, probably pines of some sort. He was driving, and all of a sudden I got the whisper energetically to turn and look. And out of the window on my right, and this happened very quickly, but it was very clear. I saw this very, very, very tall auburn being running alongside the car through the forest, and he was booking it. And we didn't lock eyes, but I knew the telepathic. He was like, he allowed me to see him. And I haven't told too many people that story. And I'm getting chills, but yeah, they're real. And they're very cool. Along with everybody else, I've got animals all over here. I've got feathers all over here. Kitties, this is Alexander. Say hi, Alexander. He's waiting for his little dinner. He's my 27-pounder. He's reincarnated, and he's with me from ancient Egypt up until now. So anyhow, thank you, everybody. I feel very blessed to be here.
Glad you're here, Marina, and I'm glad you saw wherever it's posted. This is, we originally started this show, and the youth were just asking too. Jerry and I started it. I have no memory of why. I guess one of us or both of us were moved to start it with the idea it would, just welcome everybody in and their thoughts. And now we have multiple co-hosts, but we're just here to move things along. It's absolutely community-based, so yeah, it's great when people talk. That's the fire in this. None of us, except as one of the group. So yeah, I'm glad you spoke. Thank you. Keep coming back. It's every Tuesday. We're never quite sure what it's going to be, but yeah. And okay, so I wanted to hear what the youth thought, and they thought we were pretty complete on this. The Beagle part, so then maybe we'd shift a little bit. Just one other thing I wanted to say about that, and I think it triggered when Marina was talking. They asked me if I wanted to know more of what was going on up there at this facility, and I had mixed feelings, I must admit. But then they sent me some of the pictures and the way these animals are used in the research facilities, and I had a long night. I couldn't forget those pictures because it is not, it's worse than you could imagine what they do to these poor animals. So, that said, we can, okay, Marina, I'm sorry, your hand's up again.
I just, oh, I, I meant to take my hand down. No, I don't, breaks my heart to even snip it thinking about what is done to animals. I'll take my hand down. I'll have to figure out how to do that lower hand. Okay.
Okay, sorry, I didn't realize.
I didn't.
Okay, are there any other hands up? If not, I'll flip it over to Valerie. Jerry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, Jim asked me earlier if I was anywhere near where this research facility was that had the beagles. It's about 3 hours south of me, where I'm at. Um, but I am in Wisconsin, so keep me informed, and I would like to help out if the caravan winds up happening and coming into being. Let me know of a way that I can help. Uh, Heard from my sister just before the podcast here. So her son and his new family have had difficulties with their home, so they're going to be coming to stay with her for a while. This is where I'm staying. I might have to find a place for me to stay. Um, while this is going on, they can have a home here. Uh, so I'll kind of be homeless for a little while. So what better way to spend that time with me and my dog than help in this matter. And for the grandmothers that are in Wisconsin, or Valerie, anybody knows of a place where I could possibly stay, that would be great. But seriously though, uh, I would like to help out with this matter, so keep me informed also. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I figured I would anyway, but yes, thank you for. And I think, as you spoke, this will happen, whether it ends up being in the physical realm or maybe just some of us go up scattershot or in the spiritual realm. Either way, we're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, Jerry.
Mhm.
I always knew one of us by DNA was the gypsy, but maybe it's you, not me. And we'll see where you land next. Valerie, oh, sorry, Mel. Let's shift up to Mel first.
And this here is the feral mama. We call her the feral queen. She lived in the woods for 3 years before I could ever touch her. Now she sleeps in bed with me at night. Never liked cats, so spirit animals. Critter got a sense of humor. Because there's no kitty cats on my totem whatsoever. I always loved dogs and got rescues, got rescue parrots inside. Got a cat inside the house that does not associate with cats because she thinks she's a bird. And her and the cockatoo are the best friends. But this one here is the most petite. All right, she wants down. But that's the feral mama. And spirit, they all have spirit. They all have a personality. And when you pay attention to them and how they express themselves, that's the coolest stuff in the friggin' world. I don't care who you are or what. And now she's gonna just sit here and watch us, which is cool. But Creator does have a sense of humor because I never liked cats, never. And this one sleeps in bed with me at night. It's hard to believe. Now I got another feral cat. She was in here eating a while ago. She's lived in the woods, I know, at least 4.5 years, and she comes and eats, and she will come running straight to me, brush up against my leg. She won't let me lift her, but she'll let me rub her back and rub her. She actually lets me now rub under her chin. She tried to attack me a few times, but uh, we've now passed that. So anyhow, I just wanted to share that. And Jim, if may I do a shameless plug about tomorrow night?
Sure.
Okay. Tomorrow night, I have two agro scientists, Lance Beam and his partner Don. They are working in remediation. They're doing soil cleanup. Last week we had Dr. Will Spencer. Dr. Will is in remediation, thousands of acres at White Pine. In California, Newsom was going to spend about $6 million on cleaning up a landfill to turn it into low income housing, and this is all native owned. They went to Newsom, said we can clean it up for 20,000 an acre, a fraction of the price, and they can clean it, and they can clean up to 200 foot deep. They have Lance has chaired a panel of scientists from around the world. So each week I am bringing leaders, First Nations people from around the world with our events. And any of you not familiar with us, you can find us on Facebook, Rainbow Warriors 101. There you'll see links, or you can pull me up, Chief Male Standing Eagle. I am a Rainbow Warrior Peace Chief. That's a long story too, all in the grandmother's chosen, so we'll get there. But thank you, Jim. Great. I love tonight hearing about the animals and everything, and two of them sitting right here on the table. I'm hanging out on the back porch. The weather's so nice. So Mama's over there now waiting to get in the house. So love you guys. Appreciate you. And hey, Robbie, good to see you, brother. All right. Thanks for letting me rant, Jim. Feathers
You
for
bet.
both.
No, thank you. Yeah, just be careful because before long you're going to be known as Mel the Catman. So, all right, Valerie, now we're swinging it to you.
All right. Uh, just want to say, Jerry, I've got a couch and we could figure out something if you're in need. So, we'll stay in contact and you're welcome here. Got a full house. I laugh about it because I call it my commune over here because I've got a people in the basement and my daughter came home from Japan. So if you don't mind a full house, we'll find a spot for you. Um, I'd like to hear if Chantel is willing. Tell us about this Sabe helping you out. I'd love to hear that story if you can share.
Bonjour guys. Hi, I'm Chantel. Yes, so this was back in 2020. Um, it was on the reservation on Red Lake in Minnesota, and it was really snowing. It was winter. It was winter time, and it was a really bad snowstorm. And for some odd reason, I was way out way out west where there was no houses. There was just a lake, the road, and the woods, and it was a blizzard. And when I was walking on the road, and I honestly I don't know how I got there. It was just I was supposed to be in War Road visiting my children. And then I was walking on a road with my duffel bag, and it was a blizzard out. And so you can barely see like in front of you because all the snow, coming down. And next thing you know, I could hear stuff in the woods, like 'cause here's the lake, the road and the woods, and I could hear on this side of me, bushes like cracking, and I've been hearing like stories of the Wendigo and stuff, and I kind of got scared, I got scared, but like, how would you say, like telepathically, I got these messages telling me to go this way, and the bushes cracking on the side of me, I could see along, like in front of me, I had to turn around because I was heading east, but then he wanted me to go west. So he told me to turn around, and once I turned around, I also saw the spirit of a boy. Well, it was like a man, and he was pointing. He told me to go this way, and I don't know. I got scared. I threw my duffel bag in the middle of the road, and I start running actually west, and he kept telling me keep going, you know. So I did, and I came to this vehicle. It was a truck. It was stalled out in the middle of the road, and that's where I got my help from. And then not too long after that, there was police that came, and but if it wasn't for that spirit and Bigfoot, I probably would have never been here right now. So I'm really grateful for that. And then another time was 2021, April 3rd, 2021. It was a Friday night, and it was the last snowfall of that year, and I could hear him in the woods. Like first the dogs were barking, you know, barking, and then all of a sudden they got quiet. And then next thing you know, you could hear these big trees just cracking, breaking, like off in the distance. And then you could hear him get closer. He was breathing. You could hear whoo, whoo, like you can even hear him walking. Like, and I was trying to tell, the people that I was with, shine your light over there. He's just right there. But the message I got that night, he told me 4 grandfathers. And that was all that I got out of that message when he came through that time. And that was the last time that I have heard anything from him. But I've had dreams of him. He had showed me his family one time, and then just recently he was just he come to visit me just like 4 or 5 nights ago. I don't know what that means, but yeah, that's my story. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Chantel. That means a lot. You jogged my memory because, like, right before I saw the figure, there was like the shift in energy, like, kind of like things go quieter. And uh, I, some people say, and I don't know, I'm still processing all of it, but some people say that they're interdimensional beings. And I think that's part of that energy shift. Possibly, I don't know. This, like you said, that happened about a year ago. So, um, out in the northern woods of Wisconsin, Wisconsin is known for lots of sub-A sightings. And I know you're not too far from me as well, Chantel. You're over there in Red Lake, I think, Red Lake, Minnesota.
Yeah, that's my hometown, Obashing, Panema. It's north of Red Lake. It's on the same reservation, but now I live in Fargo, Moorhead, because I have got a threat. That same day, April 3rd, 2021, I got a threat from somebody that if I didn't leave the res, they were gonna hurt me. So I left, and I haven't been back since.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. But you're doing a fabulous job. I've really enjoyed getting to know you online, and you're learning the native tongue, which has helped me because then I'm learning a little bit of Ojibwe or Anishinaabeg as well. So I really appreciate you, Chantel, and that was I appreciate you sharing because that takes some courage. Even this group here, you're the first one I've told about my sighting as well. So it's good to be with kindred hearts.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Talking stick in the middle, Jim.
Yeah, thanks. Um, so, Grandmother Val went to the Ridglan Farm site to see what this thing was and see what was happening. And so I was checking in while you guys were talking. The second effort is underway right now. It started about 3 hours ago. There's over 400 people showed up this time. There was 60 or 70 the first time. So I don't know yet because I can't. When we're done, I'll reach out and see what's happening. But that's a lot of people, and she's reminding me that many of these dogs, that are the ones being rescued, it's the first time they've seen the open sky. It's the first time. They've stepped on grass. So maybe we want to take just a minute and sit silently and send prayers to both the people and the dogs. Let's do that. Or if anyone wants to lead a prayer, feel free. If not, we can do it silently. Okay, let's connect to the Beagles and the Beagle people. Okay. Thank you, Creator, for giving us the space to reach out to those in Wisconsin and those around the planet, connecting in with them. Let this effort be successful and let it spread. Om Matakwiyase. Okay, sorry, Valerie, but I just thought that was stick back in the middle.
Just want to say very thankful for the sacrifices of those that are, putting their everything on the line, and a lot of love and power to them right now. I was I saw the original post as those that were planning the first action, I guess is what you'd call it. And I thought about your APEC model and how it's very much the same, that as part of their plan that they posted online and publicly, by the way, was that there's different layers, and today I wrote my email to Governor Evers, and I left a phone call. And so, that was called the green zone or something like that, that each of us can do our part, and you can write an email, you can pick up a phone, you can do things from home. Do whatever you do, it helps in the greater good. And also sharing accurate information. So you've been a great help, Jim, as we've, I know that what you have is good information, and that's very helpful because there's also misinformation. So that's the education part of your APEC model. So, I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit, how APEC applies to the Beagle, the Ridglan Farm Beagle situation. Thank you. Talking stick in the middle.
I'll just give it a second and then pass it on. Yeah, and I mean, I've done a lot of this over the years, but Standing Rock certainly helped break my chops on this thing, because we had to learn how to really research quickly, because 2/3 of what was coming out or more was bullshit. And so I'm applying some of those principles. Going to the source is a big one. And happily, these people are so committed. They're taking their time to answer some of us who are trying to get what's going on. And I respect that, and I really thank them. Because it's not easy. They're up there. Apparently now the police are there. They are not assaulting them at this point. And the chief of police, who was #1 criminal, they say has not been present. So that's what's going on. Jerry, I think you got your hand up.
There we go. To those in Pine Ridge who are endeavoring, the youth council who are endeavoring to do something good up there with the dogs in your area, energetically, spiritually, you're treating those dogs and reaching out, and your feeling of compassion and care, concern and love energetically by helping out and reaching out to those dogs there. Energetically, you are doing and sending that energy out for all dogs. So you may be helping the dogs in your area, but you're helping by putting that energy out into the world for all the dogs, and for the dogs in Wisconsin, for those beagles, and for every one of us, as Valerie was saying. Whether you help in prayer, whether just in your thoughts, you envision those dogs finding a home. You envision that all going well for that protest there that's going on right now, for the people that are there, that are trying to help. Envision that. Hold that in your heart. Picture the outcome that you can best possibly think of, the best possible outcome for everything. Envision it. And then by doing so, you're calling it into being in this realm. They say that we are made up of the same sacred substance as everything else. That same sacred substance, we're all part of Creator. So as a part of Creator, we can be creators too. This is one of the ways that we can create, with our prayers, with our thoughts. And our actions are the final part of that. So you don't have to be there personally to help. You can do so in many different ways. I'm gonna put my contact information in the chat so people can contact me if they have questions. Like I said, I'm in Wisconsin. I'm 3 hours north of there, but if I can help in any way, contact me. If the youth have any questions, contact me. Thank you. Stick in the middle.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. It's no coincidence, I don't think either, as the, damn, hello, brain, as the other effort took place, Valerie had family members up there, and now Jerry's close to this one. Seems like we show up where we're close to these efforts. It's really neat. I love it. And yeah, I'm going to, Jerry, I'm going to pass your information along to the youth council so they have it. I'm not sure if they do or not. Sorry, go ahead, Valerie, stick in the middle.
Yeah, I don't mean to change the subject, but if the youth council is still interested in a healing garden, I do have some. It's a very special aloe vera plant that I can ship to you, so you can, grow your own aloe vera. I keep aloe vera and I pass it out to friends, and we use it every summer for sunburns, and it's just part of our daily medicine around here. And I'll, if I can share briefly why it's so special. I was at a diversity fair, and this one little girl was selling these tiny little aloe vera plants, and all she had was styrofoam cups. That's all she had. And it was this big. It was a half an inch, this little aloe vera. So, I dug out my change because I felt sorry for, and so I bought the little aloe vera and I took it home, and it's just it's huge. It's huge, and I have given, and this plant just keeps giving and giving. So I think it's just part of the beauty of that little girl's heart, so she was a high school student, probably around 15, 14, 15 years older, so it would be from one youth to the other youth. It would be full circle if I can get this plant to you. It's prolific. It will just keep growing and growing, and sharing medicine. It has shared medicine with everyone all over. So you're welcome to it. I can ship it to you if there's something that works for you, like someone I could share it with. Talking stick in the middle.
Marina.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go in a minute. I just pulled up back to the animals. There's a very beautiful short prayer by Albert Schweitzer, and he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1952 for his philosophy of reverence for life. Most people have heard of him. if I could just read it before I go, I need to go. It says, "Hear our humble prayer, O God, for our friends the animals, especially for those who are suffering, for any that are lost or deserted or frightened or hungry. We entreat for them all thy mercy and pity, and for those who deal with them. We ask a heart of compassion and gentle hands and kindly words. Make us ourselves to be true friends to animals, and so to share the blessings of the merciful." So,
Thank you. That was beautiful. Yeah, we will see you again. I'm so glad you were here. Glad we connected again. We're here every week, so come and join.
I will put it on my calendar.
It's the only way I remember.
This was spirit guided. I don't usually
Yes.
go on and boom, I'm here. It's so good to meet everybody. Thank you. And I
Yeah.
love the humor. I'm going to go laugh now while my kitty's biting my ankle to feed him. Have a great night and blessings to everybody.
Good night.
Right. I did pull one last card.
Okay.
We want to close out with that. Um, because my Jamie Sam's book is downstairs, I have The Angels and Ancestors. This is Kyle Gray. This is a nice deck. And I pulled, it's not all animals, by the way, but I pulled Spirit Fox. I love it. So this is trust your talents in changing times. So the message is stay alert as change is in the air. The spirit fox features my favorite animal of all time, the red fox, an amazingly resilient creature able to survive in urban environments or the freezing temperatures of the Arctic. Foxes know what it's like to be hunted. Ah, Robbie also pulled the fox. Look at that. For centuries, they have been sought for their precious fur when all they want is to survive. So the spirit fox can help you overcome the energies of adversity and unfair treatment. Also, as urban foxes hide in cities and go about their business in the darker hours, the fox offers the medicine of blending in. So the energies around you are changing at this time, and although it may not always be comfortable, you are equipped to
Excuse me.
survive this shift. You're being presented with opportunities to reach spaces you've never encountered before. And this can make you feel on edge. But be open to the shifts occurring because they are really the answers to your prayers. The experience of being hunted or threatened is now behind you, and you're being invited to come out from your den and reveal your glory and talents. Call upon Spirit Fox Medicine to help you be seen for who you are and trust in your talents in order to be the best you can be in these changing times. And if I may just reflect, you know, this is a public, we post this publicly, this Zoom, and so many of you, and like me, sometimes you don't realize you're just in the moment and you share so vulnerably of yourself and your experiences. And these are not ordinary events that we talk about and that we share. So I just want to honor that and just hold some reverence for this circle for those of you that may watch this on the replay or share it amongst us. That It's really beautiful to see how things converge and how spirit works through us all and how we're led. And we all have these stories that many of us shared tonight we've never shared before. So it brings me to a time when I was 3 and I got up out of bed, and I'll never forget it. I guess it was probably one of the first visions I ever had. and I just thought I saw the Easter Bunny. But and that's what I chalked it off to, is like growing up. But I know now, and as you started talking about, I mean, this being was huge in my hallway. Inside, it was in my house, and at the time, and I can just remember like going one way from it and it following me down the hall and then turning around and following me back down the other way. And I wonder now, as you talk about the Sabe, and have you ever seen one inside? Because I think I did. Talking stick in the middle. I know we're down to 1 minute.
That's funny because as a kid, one of my favorite movies was Harvey with Jimmy Stewart, which was about a 6-foot rabbit. Invisible rabbit, by the way. Jerry.
I have never personally seen one inside, but there's a reason why people can't catch them, people can't find them. They have the ability to go interdimensional, so they can go wherever they wish to. You see videos where the Sasquatch walks behind a tree, but he doesn't walk out the other side, but then he's just gone. That's why. They're interdimensional just like the fairy ones, just like the little ones, the little people. So there is that aspect. They can go wherever they wish to. You're not going to contain them. You're not going to restrict them from going wherever they wish to. And like Jim said with the wolf will do what it wants. So will our elder, bigger brother, Bigfoot. It's just that to think of. Also, let everybody know I put my information in the chat. If anyone wishes to contact me, and like I said, hey, you find a room for available, let me know. But yeah, to help with the cause for the animals, and fox. Robbie pulled fox. Melissa pulled fox later. One thing I can share about fox is that did you know that all foxes in their dens, they have 2 exits. They have an entrance, but they have 2 exits. That's so if a predator comes in search of the little ones, the mother can take the little ones and go out another exit to keep them safe, to continue their way of life, and to keep her children safe. So it just reminds us to always be prepared, to always think in unconventional ways, and to think about our actions and consequences of our actions before we act, and to walk the best way possible when we do act. So just that. Stick in the middle. I know it's getting kind of
Thank you, bro. That's okay. And yeah, the foxes, absolutely. We actually have 2 foxes here now, so I think we'll have young very soon. And the story is that the foxes learned to do that from the prairie dogs. Prairie dogs have many exits from their holes. And fox said, this looks like a good idea. But we don't have enough energy to do that, but we'll have 2. So I remember that from my brother, Little Thunder, up in Colorado, because we had a lot of them in Colorado. Yeah. Whew. This is awesome. Let's see where we're at. I think in a moment we'll turn it over to Chantel if she still wants to do the prayer out. That'd be awesome. See, I did remember Chantel. That's because I made a note. What else here? Anything? Okay, here. So things are changing. And Grandmother Val, I'll put this one last one in. Grandmother Val said, she sent this to me. Even as we do these things online, we are making changes. Changes happen elsewhere at the same time. All is connected. And this is apparently the King of England, King Charles, is in the U.S., in Washington at the moment. And he addressed Congress today. And his talk, here's a little bit of it, was around, he stood in front of the entire Congress, the House and Senate, and he reminded everyone that even kings are subject to the law. He cited the Magna Carta, the foundations of checks and balances, and the fact that all must have an ear. He defended NATO, stood up for Ukraine, and made a case for allies. I wonder what that's about, or who that was pointed at. But anyway, not that kings and queens are my favorite people, but I'm glad to hear somebody did that. And did it in a it wasn't accusatory. He just said, hey, here's the story. Okay. Before we send it to Chantel, does anyone have any final thoughts, unthoughts? Everybody contributed beautifully today. Thank you. This thing flowed. Those who hear this later, I want to put that out again. If you find value in it, if you see the way these things are helping with the overall energy, please share it out. Share it to your friends, share it in your groups, and allow others to pay attention. And come and join us, if you have time, on Tuesday evenings, or any of the other shows that are associated with this. We'll have to start posting those so people can see that as well. Thanks, everybody. Chantel, you still want to do the ending prayer?
Sure. Okay. I just want to say, Denji Minaje Dewin, that means I respect you. Ne Awin Minaje Dewin, that means together we respect each other. Buju Anin Gakanawia, Manomanakwain Indigenous Kaz, Janganashimang Chantel, Awazase Nindu Dame, Obashing Nindu Jaba, Nandange, Gichimani Du, Minawa, Ingu Manidug, Wabanang, Jawanang, Giwe Ningabianang, Giwedinang Minawa, Manidug, Oma Aking Minawa, Mama Aking, Manidug, Ishpaming Minawa, Nibekang, Oda Penig Wa'ao Sema, Widakau, Ganawamin, Jawanim, Jawanishinam, Nij Anishinabe, Widakawishin, G Mino Ganawa Bamagwa, G Mino Ganunagwa, Minowa, Mino Dudawagwa, Nijibi Madizig, G Nanda Gakandamin, Ojibwemomin, Minowa, Anishinaabe, Ijatwawin, Gichimigwich, Gichimanidu, Gichimigwich Noongam Gagijik, Gichimigwich Ga Mijayang, Mino Bemadiziwind, Gichimigwich Gagijik, Gagena, Gago, Izikajagag, sorry, Gichimigwich Gagena, Gago, Ga Ijatuyeg. And I ask you, Creator, that we guide us with love and help us to guide us with the spirits and the animals, and let us know what we have to do next to help each other. And miigwech, meet you. Thank you.
Thanks, Chantel. That was beautiful. And the Youth Council is thanking you as well. And they're giving thanks for being part of this circle. For once, they feel like they're actually part of something outside of the res. That's, yeah, awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And you're a key part of it. Whew. Wow. What a powerful show. I'm not sure how to step out. I think we just step out with Chantel's beautiful prayer. That was enough. Love all you guys and everyone who hears this later. Beagle prayers. Beagle prayers. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Night.